Hi, and welcome to the show. Subscribe at kevinmd.com/podcast. Today, we welcome Jonah Rocheeld. He's a medical student. Today's Kevin MD article is End of Life Care and Religion, Reconciling Jewish Law and Medicine. Jonah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Poe. It's an honor to be here.
All right, so tell us what led you to share this article on Kevin MD and then talk about the article itself for those who didn't get a chance to read it.
What led to the article is it was kind of the product of a Jewish upbringing and then kind of the tension that created with medical school and medical ethics that I've been experiencing more and more, obviously, as I continue medical school. So I grew up as a Jewish Orthodox person. And in that context, you end up with a lot of discussions about ethics, end of life care specifically. And there's like a lot of very strong opinions out there. Obviously, I grew up going to like a Jewish school. So that was a big part of my life. And that was kind of all I knew. At the same time, I grew up always wanting to be a doctor. But obviously, like I think a lot of people experience this before they come to medical school, is that your perspective, your perception of what medical school is like and what clinical experience is like and how patients actually are in real life is wildly different. And so the more time I spend, the more kind of ethical discussions we would have or in-person experience that I would have with patients, the more I felt this tension of, my Jewish upbringing and teachings are teaching me one thing, and what I'm learning in medical school is just wildly, vastly different. The way people's lives are is just not that simple, the way I kind of grew up learning. And so kind of how that came into the article is that one of the kind of Jewish perspectives out there on end of life care is that they draw this distinction between withdrawing and withholding care. So withholding care is kind of, more legally accepted within the Jewish faith, within Jewish law, but withdrawing care from somebody that is, say, on a ventilator, for example, is considered, almost universally forbidden, except in, specific edge cases like, say, brain death. There's more to withdrawing care. And so where that became kind of a sticking point with me, we had these end of life discussions throughout M2. We were having these end of life discussions, and we were talking about, is it ever justified to withdraw care from somebody? And so, kind of synthesizing all of that, these kind of experiences, and then working in the hospital more and more over, through shadowing, through my gap year, through just being in school, it just created this tension and kind of led to what I was talking about in the article where, and kind of in terms of summary, it felt like Jewish law was prioritizing just, this is the law, this is what we have to do. It doesn't matter if there's necessarily a real human cost because the tradition is what matters above everything. And then medicine, what we're learning in school is more humanism is the number one thing. We have to, value autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, justice, and that's really all that there is to it. And so if a person wants to withdraw care, we have to have an open conversation and leave all the options on the table.
So when confronted with these tensions, and you mentioned your article, you have these discussions in these small group settings, how do you, as a future Jewish physician, how do you reconcile these tensions? Tell us about some of the emotions and thoughts that were going through your mind as you were discussing these cases.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's very difficult, and it was especially powerful in the moment that kind of inspired this article, because I was actually having like a very heated discussion with another Jewish student, and they were kind of very, very vigorously defending their ideas that were kind of based on the Jewish faith, like absolutely not supposed to withdraw care under any circumstances. And I'm sitting there like, but like, how do you square that with the reality of somebody like the composite that I mentioned in the article? How do you square that with the reality of somebody that has metastatic cancer? Like, there is no miracles. We want to believe miracles happen, but miracles usually don't happen. That's why they're special. That's why they're miracles. And so, are we really, as doctors, supposed to just say, "I'm sorry," like you just have to live in pain until time takes its course, until God's will decides that your life is over? It was just a very difficult tension. And even now, I would say, as somebody that is a religious Jewish person, it's a tension that I feel. And there's a lot of emotions there. There's feelings of betrayal of the faith, because this is what I grew up with, this is what I know. But at the same time, ultimately, I have to, I think everybody has to kind of choose where they have to draw a line for themselves. They have to choose what is appropriate for them as a physician. How do you feel comfortable moving forward? And you have to live your own life. And I would say, as far as people, I think this is a tension that a lot of people experience, where their ethics kind of clash with their work as a physician. And I think we all have to kind of find a place within ourselves that we can separate between our own personal experiences and what is actually best for the patient. I think that's really one of the core tensions of being a physician.
So tell us about the outcome of that heated discussion you had with your fellow Jewish medical student.
Mhm.
Um, what happened at the end? Did any perspectives or minds get changed after the discussion? What was the outcome?
As I recall, it was a little bit difficult to make a lot of progress in terms of the conversation. I think it's less in those kind of conversations, especially when it's less about the ideas that are being discussed and more about people's identities. Like people experience their religion is not necessarily just a system of ideas they believe in. It's really just their identity. I'm saying myself, like, this is what is a huge betrayal for me because Judaism is such a huge part of who I am. And so in those moments, I think it was important, for example, for me at least, to focus on the moments where I express something like the case I discussed, like, somebody with metastatic cancer. And in those moments, the person I was discussing with, they just kind of go silent because I think we all feel this tension. And, we're all moved to come to medical school because, we feel extremely deep passion for other human beings. We want what's best for them. And so when we're faced with one to one, this is the reality that has happened. It's something I personally experienced. And very often it's something that other people have experienced in their own clinical work. It's, they feel it kind of more deeply than discussing these ideas in the abstract. And I want to say more broadly, I think Jewish people or religious people where they have these kind of tensions, I don't think when they say these things that, oh, we should never withdraw care, I don't think they're thinking of, oh, I know some person that had, terrible pain at the end of life and they shouldn't withdraw care. They're thinking more broadly, very abstractly. But then once you're on the wards, in the hospital room, speaking with the family, people are crying, the patient's moaning, maybe the painkiller's not working, you need to keep administering this, that, like the reality just completely changes, your perspective just completely shifts.
Now, have you talked to other Jewish physicians or some of your faith mentors about this, and how do they tackle this tension? What are some other perspectives that you've heard on how your fellow peers have addressed this tension?
Yeah, it's very difficult because ultimately the Jewish loyalty has to be to the faith because that's kind of what has kept it standing, at least within the modern Orthodox strain or the, kind of more far right of that is very, very loyal to the tradition. Strains that are more left leaning, like say the conservative movement, reform movement, there's a little bit more leeway there. But speaking strictly in terms of Orthodox Jewish people, I want to say that I want to add it as a kind of qualification. I would add that there is a lot of room for compassion, and there's a lot of effort from Jewish scholars to act as compassionately as possible in very extreme situations. Like, for example, there is a Jewish law that the term is called an aguna. Aguna in Hebrew means somebody that's chained. And what this means, it refers to women, for example, that according to Jewish law, women whose husbands die under mysterious circumstances, where there's no witnesses and there's no clear evidence of death, they're unable to remarry out of concern that maybe their husband is still alive somewhere. So, for example, you could see how this would be extremely relevant in war situations where somebody's husband goes out. Not every soldier is accounted for. Crazy things happen in the field. Somebody, a grenade blows up and people disappear for a long period of time. You don't know what happened to them. And so there's been a lot of work, for example, by Jewish scholars, because you have this huge issue of there's thousands of women out there. Their husband went out to to join the military. They didn't come back. And I want to get married again. Like, it's been 5 years and he just hasn't shown up again, but there's no evidence that he died. And so scholars like Rabbi Ovadia Yosef or Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, they work very, very tirelessly within the faith to, find ways for these women to marry, find leniencies. But at the same time, again, you end up with this ultimate issue that the faith and the tradition is what is ultimate and what is superseding everything. And that kind of creates these issues in the day to day. So I would say in my conversations with these people, it's really just a lot of emphasis on we're all about compassion. We want to do what's best for people, but ultimately our loyalty is to the faith, and we have to do the best we can within those confines.
Now, what about talking to mentors not of the Jewish faith? What are some of their perspectives, and have they offered any insight on some of the tensions that we're talking about today?
I would say, kind of leaning out of the Jewish faith, the people I've spoken to about this, they're a little bit more. They try to be as understanding as possible, but the general impression for the people I've spoken to is that it's more kind of in line with typical kind of clinical reasoning in terms of, again, we all have, for example, there's situations where the most common situation is people talk about like not wanting to provide an abortion for somebody if you're a religious physician, for example. A lot of physicians have a problem with that. You you just have to follow hospital guidelines. That's kind of where everybody kind of settles down onto, which is that, okay, so this is not ideal. Say as a secular person would recommend that you kind of move your own personal feelings back and do what needs to be done. But if you're really feeling comfortable with this, they usually recommend just passing it on to another physician. Do I personally feel that that's ideal if you're somebody that's been coordinating this person's care for months on end, and then now they're reaching end of life and you say, I'm sorry, I can't handle end of life care, I need to refer you to somebody else? I would say that's highly not ideal. And therefore, that's why I kind of talk more, I'm saying in this conversation more to kind of make this line, draw this line between your personal person and your physician personality. But, we all have to draw a line somewhere.
So, have you thought about the situation? And I'm going to put you on the spot here because, as a future physician, of course, you're going to be talking about very difficult end of life situations. If the family wants to pursue a course that is in conflict with your Orthodox Jewish values, have you thought about how you're going to approach that particular situation and scenario when it does come up?
Absolutely. And I would say that it's something that I wrestle with a lot and it's something that I've been working on a lot. I've been doing a lot of reading on secular and Jewish ethics to kind of navigate these tensions, because for me, I feel the weight of, like my role as a physician incredibly strongly. And that was really kind of part of what motivated this article, because I wanted to reach other people that feel these tensions just as much as I do. Because I have a lot of, older friends that are in residency, are physicians now, or are in medical school, and they experience these things in the day to day. And I get a lot of positive feedback from them in terms of when we have these conversations, it can be very relaxing for them to have somebody that kind of feels these same things, feels these same tensions. And so I would say for myself personally, the way I kind of think about it is that the tradition is divine in origin, but ultimately it's filtered through thousands of human beings and scholars over time. And what that means is that we don't necessarily need to treat every single precept or every single idea or every single tenet of the faith as absolute across all time, across all situations. And I think a good comparison is you could look at, say, preclinical years of medical education and then clinical years. Like, we learn from the textbooks, we learn how diseases present and how to handle patients and what tests to order. And then when you're in the hospital, people are much more complicated than that. Your patients don't give you a history like a standardized patient would. They give it like a human being would, which is kind of all over the place, and they repeat themselves, and they're really nervous, and understandably they're incredibly scared what's going on, what's going to happen to me. And diseases are complicated. People don't always present like they do in a textbook. And so you have to kind of cultivate your own personal judgment. And I think really any mature faith, as you become an adult, has to necessarily transition from rules-based absolutism to just morally complex, nuance, relative situation evaluation, relativism, I guess.
Can you share any pieces of advice to early physicians and your fellow medical students and interns and residents? Because there are many faiths that, of course, are going to have ethics in conflict with more secular values, right? So tell us the type of advice that you could share with other students who may be going through a similar tension to what you're going through from what you've learned over the last few years.
Mhm. I would, as in terms of advice, I would recommend first of all finding kind of the edges of your own faith, meaning what are the boundaries of your faith? What do you truly, I can never be comfortable with this, and what are things that you feel that you could potentially compromise on? That this is not necessarily a strict aspect of the faith that is uncompromisable entirely. So if line for you is, say, abortion, then that's your line. Then refer to a physician, whatever that may be, for example. Or if that line is withdrawing end of life care, then that's your line. Within those confines, I would add that it's important to be open to having conversations with people. It's important to be open to new experiences, because I think even people that have very, very strongly held belief that is part of their identity can be swayed by just the reality of life and the reality of people's family situations, because that can be incredibly moving for people. Things that you would never think. If you asked me 5 years ago, for example, would I ever compromise on with like withdrawing end of life care in a million years? I would say absolutely not. That's forbidden. Like, that's against the Jewish law. And now as an adult, or as a second year, third year medical student, it's unquestionable that I have to have the conversation. I'm fully open to having the conversation. I think it's incredibly important that we consider all options and do what's best for the patient. And that's directly the product of just experiencing it firsthand. So I would say really just remain open-minded, have faith in the medical system, the same way we have faith in our religion. We have to have faith in, the decisions of our forebears, and that the principles we live by as physicians are not just arbitrary. They're kind of core principles that thousands of physicians have practiced. And we're really all trying to just do the best and square our humanity with just the reality.
We're talking to Jonah Rocheeld, medical student. Today's Kevin MD article is End of Life Care and Religion, Reconciling Jewish Law and Medicine. Jonah, let's end with some take home messages they want to leave with the Kevin MD audience.
I would just say, as a take home message, I would say it's really important to stay open minded, have your faith, believe in your ethics, have your own personality, because that's what makes every physician special. Have something that you bring to the physician that makes it special, but also don't let that come at the cost of patient suffering or patient lives. Always try and within those confines, try and compromise really what is best for the patient at all costs, because at the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to do as physicians. That's our job.
Jonah, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and insight. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.